thanks for joining me. This is Harrison from Shut Up and Play. I'm just giving a tour of the island base castle build that I did on a friend's server. So I'm running back out right now to start showing you from the beginning. That is an inn I built on top of the wall. I wanted to give it some character instead of just a keep or something. It used to be a lookout point, and now it was taken over by an inn because it was in such disuse as a watchtower. And then over on the right here we have the visible storage mod that we put in on the server. I think it looks pretty cool. Just have some aloes and dinosaurs around to add to the aesthetic of the place. And this is the main entrance, and then my lit long hallway that I like to do and things to give it kind of like a cathedral-y vibe. And then up there's the plinth. And we're going to go around to the right here. And then back down this way is where the magic happens, basically. It's all the crafting area. And in the center, I put the grinder and have it as a focal piece. There's the chem bench, grill, smoker, cooker, tiny fridges from the Dags mod. And this is the, crafting area with the fabricator and benches and safes. And then that's the, I don't know which mod that was, scrolls or something. I think it's from Bob's Pack. There's some other stuff from the Bob's Pack. And there, on the beds. And if we go back out, go up the stairs and take a look around. And then there's our forge that we fit in one of the towers of the castle. And then going up the other tower will lead us up to some cool balconies. This one's a greenhouse, and there's plants growing underneath. And then head back in, and then we have, there's the greenhouse portion of it. We covered up the walls of the greenhouse glass with the standard brick look stone. And coming out front, just some aesthetic stuff. And then got some birds on display. You can see the water portion of the base over there in the background. And we'll head back in here. And then head up the stairs some. And I don't know, I just have a fascination with towers, and I like all the little peaks and whatnot and balconies to be accessible, even though they don't really serve a function. I just still like having them accessible. And we can continue up, and I even get a little lost in here by my pathing, trying to make, paths to each tower. You can see out the windows, and keep going up until we get to the very top tower. It has a center hole that leads all the way down, so if you're flying back with an Ankleo on an Argent or something, you can just fly it in right to the forge without needing to worry about any doors or anything. Don't really have any of the Rhinonathus, the big bugs spawn around here, so I didn't feel like, covering it up with a hatch frame or anything up there. And got some more balcony. That room's useless so far. Possibly just add some more storage if we need it. But overall, this is all pretty much just aesthetics. There's my lighthouse back there. There's the inn. And then we'll head back in here. And then looking out front, because why don't I stop at every window to look around? That's the center pillar. Yep. And then coming back around, we'll head back into the place. Trying to find my way around again. And then we come out here, it's this balcony again. And then if we head down those stairs, I believe it'll lead us to another balcony here. That's usually where I'll park one of my birds or whatever is the most common one used when I'm not using it for a while and I'm sitting around building on this place. This place still isn't fully finished. I wanted to get some pillars up along the edges outside, all the corners to make it look prettier. And I started doing that recently, but this video was taken before I started doing that. I've just been so busy with other games that I haven't got back in to record any of this. Now we're going to head over to the Tavern. Below us is the visible storage, and below this section. Then we'll go in here. There's like going to be a tree or plant or something there. We got some tables. Got some kegs brewing. There's a food locker. And then we got a poker game set up, so you can play with that. Got a chimney to be all cozy. And then over here we have the watchtower bell. I can't remember exactly what it's called. And then just got the center, or the watchtower pillar that was part of the keep before the inn got built on top of it. Just to, you know, have for pretties. And then Kina's taken to putting dinosaurs up here to show off whatever fancy thing we have now on one of those pedestals. And over there you can see the grinder. And then head back down. Let's see here. Head out multiple ways. Trying to figure out where to go to show off some stuff. Just a room that leads back up into the tavern. This way will lead out across the wall. There's the grinder and such. And another little lookout point further down this way. And then we also have a mod that disguises windmills as trees, like these little cherry blossom trees around, and I really like that to cover up the ugly windmills. Or wind generators, I can't remember what they're called. And I'll head down this way to the grinder. So I was originally going to build a building and have a trapdoor to drop the dinosaurs down onto the grinder, but it ended up being taller than the wall, and I just didn't like that aesthetically, so I just built a little open thing. And the cemetery for the ground dinosaurs. And then we'll head back this way. We're going to go take a look at some other stuff. And this little building here is I named it the Dino Rehab Center. And it's where we can fly in smaller dinosaurs to drop through the roof here, and then we can trank them to tame them. Or, you know, passively feed them if they're a passive tame. And over here is Kina's breeding shack that she built. We ended up taking out the dinosaurs and putting them in the cryopods because we weren't playing for a bit. Didn't want everything starving to death. But it says large sections for her dinos to breed, and then there's the two Brontos would go on the right there, and their heads have little holes in the roofs to poke out through their long necks, which I thought was really cool. And heading back this way, we're going to check out the water fortress defense thingy, and then the lighthouse that I built. We have this wall here. It goes all the way down into the ground on the outside anyway. I wanted to do it all the way down on the inside, but it's just taken forever to farm all the stone up. And then I have a little pool here in the center, so if we want to do some water breeding of smaller creatures without them being like murdered, a nice little pool for that. And come in, and then we have some plants to defend against the outside if anything chases us in here. I haven't had anything do that yet, so I don't know if they fully work for that. I would hope they do, but who knows. I still need to figure out what to do with all this, but I wanted a little bit of decoration in the water coming in. That's what those pieces are for. A shark out there. But, yeah, and you can just swim in here. I wanted like a little lock system, so if anything chases you in, it won't come in and murder all the other water tames. And then come out, and then going up right here, we have more of the visible storage mod with the dino unloader. So if we come in with the Dunkleosteris, we can unload it quickly there. Then coming around this way, I have little parking stalls for my Tusoteuthis, which is one of my favorite aquatic tames, just because I like giant squids. I also like the Dunkleos, but they're pretty slow. I just like them for gathering stone a lot more than going out with a Doedicarus. There's my lighthouse. It doesn't light up much during the day, but at night it glows like a pretty bright beacon. And I achieved that through it's one mod to turn the stone, or the metal sheets I used out on the top of it, into crystalline structures. But you can also achieve the same thing with the front face, or the outside facing bits of metal, which I did in another build, which I did not get recorded because it was before I even thought of having a channel. Yeah, and then out this way, I built a little picnic area, and I put some of our dinos that we don't really use as decoration around here. They're on little cryopod pedestal things that you can hide the pedestal portion of so you don't have to feed them. I just wanted to add some little cute things. But yeah, that's the build. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.